Thank you, Patrick, and good afternoon to everybody. And I'm delighted to have this opportunity to participate in the annual general meeting of the Irish in Britain. And at the outset, I just want to commend all of the work, Patrick, that you and the board and Brian Dalton and the team in Irish in Britain do on behalf of Irish organisations across GB, and especially this year, which, as we know, was a very, very challenging year. I suppose, in truth, if we look back in 2020, there's not an awful lot to be cheerful about. It's been a very difficult year. However, we did start the year with some good news, and particularly in terms of the restoration of the devolved institutions in Northern Ireland at the beginning of the year after a 3-year hiatus. And it was good to see power sharing returning to Northern Ireland. It was also very good to see the SDLP resuming its representation in Westminster with 2 MPs, Colm Eastwood, who I know will be talking to you later, and his colleague Claire Hanna. And even in the first 9 or 10 months of this year, they have made a really strong impact and are reflective of the diversity of voices in Northern Ireland, and making that diversity clear in Westminster. And it's good to have them back. But 2020 was a tough year for the Irish community in Great Britain. Obviously, coronavirus has had a devastating impact on the community, and particularly on our more vulnerable citizens who've had to endure isolation, illness, and, Patrick, as you indicated as well, very sadly, quite a few deaths. And I suppose we all know people close to us who passed away during the year, and we're thinking of them, and they're in our thoughts. And particularly in my thoughts are Alice Kennedy, the late Alice Kennedy, who was chair of the Irish Elderly Advice Network, and who passed away in March of this year. And I was delighted to hear the news last week that Alice has been named as one of this year's recipients of the Presidential Distinguished Service Award, one of 14 people worldwide, 4 of whom are in Britain. And another posthumous recipient of the award is the late Jack Charlton, who, of course, was also very close to the hearts of many people here in the Irish community in Britain. So coronavirus has taken a toll, but it's also, I think, shown us the fantastic response of the Irish community organisations across Britain, who mobilised so quickly to respond to the challenge and to assist our more vulnerable citizens. And that really prompt response, within that prompt response, we saw organisations being very innovative in providing new channels to provide their services, channels that were responsive to the situation which we found ourselves. So if the vulnerable citizens couldn't come to the community centre, well, then the community centre found ways of getting to our vulnerable citizens. We've had an explosion of content, of cultural content, from Irish cultural organisations now being provided online and through social media. And that's been a really rich experience, and some wonderful material being provided now on a daily basis online. So cogardicus to all the organisations, cultural organisations who responded so well. And I think a key part of that community response has been collaboration. And there's been fantastic collaboration across Irish organisations, and some wonderful case studies of what collaboration can achieve in places like Leeds and Manchester and Leicester and so forth. And I know that the Irish in Britain have been really played a key role in encouraging and facilitating and in coordinating that collaboration. Now, I suppose the challenge now for us is not to rest on our laurels, but to sustain that collaborative effort, that collaborative response during the winter and into the spring. So, we'll have to draw on our resources of stamina and resilience to keep this effort to keep this effort going. And I suppose the good news of recent days, of course, is that we now have some realistic prospect of vaccines coming online before the end of the year and into the spring. So I think for the first time now, perhaps there is some real hope that come maybe the second quarter of next year, we might beginning to see some kind of return to normality. And that's something that hopefully will encourage us to keep going. I'm afraid one thing that has remained with us during the course of the year is Brexit. And we are now probably in the business end of those negotiations. And the next couple of weeks, I think, will be vital in determining whether we are going to have a free trade agreement negotiated between the European Union and the UK. That's a matter that's of great significance in terms of our trade relationship, Ireland's trade relationship with the UK. And also, we will be trying to conclude the negotiations, the discussions with the UK on the implementation of the Northern Ireland Protocol. And that's also very important in terms of protecting the gains of the peace process in Northern Ireland. And I'm sure Colin will have something to say about that when he talks in a few minutes. Part of that protocol, one of the things that it did, of course, contain, very important for the Irish community in Britain, is it contained commitments from the UK and from the European Union about maintaining the common travel area between Ireland and Britain. And that's, of course, of vital importance to our community here in terms of their rights to travel freely back and forth between our two islands and the right when they travel to Britain to work here, to access social services, the health service, education, and so forth. And under the protocol, there is a clear legal commitment for that common travel area to be maintained on into the future. And it's our intention in the embassy over the next few weeks to do a number of outreach sessions, virtual outreach sessions, with Irish organisations throughout Britain, just to remind people of the key elements of the common travel area, and to make sure that come the 1st of January, when the current transition period ends, that among our community in Britain, people clearly understand that their rights don't change and that there isn't any confusion or difficulties around that. So I think, Patrick, I'll leave it at that. Just finally to say again that I know I'm joined on this call by a number of colleagues from the embassy, and particularly from on our community side by Isabel O'Connor, who joined us in September, and by Rachel Ingersoll, who I think most people will know well. And just to say that we remain at your disposal and at the disposal of the Irish community organisations to assist in any way we can. And though the embassy doors, at least until the 2nd of December, were not open for visitors or meetings or anything like that, but nonetheless, metaphorically, our door remains open. We remain contactable in every way. And I just want to wish you and the organisation and all your members all the very best. Thank you.